Back in San Francisco, the 49ers have made a tight end signing official this time. Not an RFA offer that another team can match like the Detroit Lions did with Brock Wright. No, the 49ers have signed Eric Saubert, who, just like George Kittle, was a tight end picked in the 5th round of the 2017 draft. Saubert's been with a ton of teams. Recently, though, he's been in the building with the Miami Dolphins under Mike McDaniel, the former 49ers staffer, and with the Houston Texans under DeMeco Ryans, the former 49ers staffer. So Saubert is a guy who the 49ers probably have some familiarity with through some of their former coaches in Miami and Houston. He's also a guy who was, I think, decently athletic coming out of that 2017 draft. To see a 4.69 40, you saw a really good broad jump, like 88th percentile on the broad jump. Second most bench press reps out of any tight end in the 2017 draft. So he stuck around the league for quite a while. Only 36 catches over the course of his career, but he had 15, a career high, 15 2 seasons ago with the Broncos. And that actually is more than Charlie Werner had in 4 seasons, 11 catches with the 49ers. Put on the tape for Eric Saubert, I think that you see a guy who has a solid chance to be that tight end too for the 49ers. Was hurdling over a couple of guys with Denver, made some athletic catches. The athleticism has shown up on NFL tape, and it may just be a matter of him needing a true opportunity. And I think the 49ers are looking to get the tight end too more involved in the pass game. I mean, obviously was a big point of lacking for the 49ers over the past several seasons. It's been Kittle and everybody else. Again, Charlie Werner, only 11 catches in 4 years for San Francisco. Big part of the reason why they let him walk to Atlanta for, what, $12 million? They didn't want to pay that kind of money if they weren't going to be getting the receiving production. So we'll see if Eric Saubert can do it for San Francisco. Obviously, he's not guaranteed a spot on this roster. Has over 1,100 special team snaps in his career, has been good in that phase of the game. That's been a point of emphasis for the 49ers, but it's going to be wide open behind George Kittle this offseason. Saubert, obviously Braden Willis, second-year man out of Oklahoma, who's going to be trying to make his mark. And Cam Latu, the third-year pick from last season, missed all of the year with the knee surgery, struggled during training camp preceding that with all the drops. He's obviously on notice right now. We'll see if he can fight through in this situation. The 49ers also have Jake Tongas on the roster. So you've got a few bodies. This does not preclude them from drafting a tight end. So we'll see if the 49ers do add more at the position. But looks like Ross Dwelley probably, unless they really want to stock it up for the 90-man roster, they could bring back somebody like Ross Dwelley. But it looks like he may not be with the team, and they're going to really make this a new-look situation behind George Kittle as they continue to look for that tight end too. So Eric Saubert is on board. I made it back to San Francisco to do this quick video just after I had gotten out of my car. We got some content from Healdsburg to wrap up the wine country trip. Carry on here from Healdsburg, the hills just outside the Alexander Valley, to talk of 49ers cornerback prospect who's just come onto the radar, Shawn Stevens. According to Ryan Fowler, Stevens has been meeting for quite some time with the 49ers. And that means that San Francisco is interested in the Bakersfield native. He went to Ridgeview High School. And this is a guy who, on tape, I mean, he played at Ferris State, which is in Michigan, which obviously doesn't play the top level of competition in college football. But on tape, he is a ball hawk. 8 interceptions in each of the past 2 seasons for Shawn Stevens. That's 16 picks over the past 2 years. And I'll tell you what, 49ers, I think, are definitely in position to go for a cornerback that they like in this NFL draft. Just look at the status of the roster right now. Charvarius Ward, their top corner, Deommodore Lenoir, their cornerback number 2, and Isaac Yiadom, who I think is going to be cornerback number 3. They picked him up in free agency this year. All 3 of those guys only have 1 year remaining on their deals. Yiadom only signed a 1-year contract with the 49ers. But either way, you're hitting an inflection point soon. I think that it's very possible that the 49ers extend Deommodore Lenoir this offseason. Remember how they extended Dre Greenlaw a couple years ago, right before training camp started? I think same thing might be possible for Deommodore Lenoir. Get him with some real value. And that's a guy that you could, I think, re-sign at some value sooner rather than later, because he is overshadowed. He's cornerback number 2 on your football team behind Charvarius Ward. And Ward, that might go the way of L'Jarius Sneed. That might have to be a franchise tag situation or a long-term extension. He's obviously an all-pro, but you have to build that room moving forward. I know they have some other young guys on this team, but you have to keep on replenishing the pipeline. And when you look at a guy like Shawn Stevens, he's got potential. I mean, he's 6 feet tall. He's not one of those big corners. He's not somebody like Isaac Yiadom, who's one of the taller 6'1", 6'2" guys. He's 6 feet tall, so he's not tiny. And he plays with some violence out there. He can high point the football. And one thing that I really like, on top of all the cover skills, and obviously to pick off 16 passes in 2 years at any level, you have to have some ball hawk in you. But one thing that I really like is that he's got the quickness and the speed, I think, to be a factor at punt returner. And the 49ers still need to handle that position. They need to bring in some bodies that can at least compete for that spot. Kick return, rules are different. I see Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey being the 49ers' best options there. But punt return still requires a true specialist. And according to Ryan Fowler, who reported this news on Sean Stevens, he said that he was hand-timed, Stevens was, at his pro day at around 4.3. So probably going to be a little bit slower on an electric time, maybe 4.4, but still, the tape shows that there's some potential quickness here. It looks like he's a gamer. I like the physicality, and I like the fact that he preys on the football defensively, but I do think that he could potentially be somebody who competes in that punt return role for the 49ers. Whoever you do draft this offseason, this applies to all the picks, it's got to be somebody that it's targeted to fit the roster. Not going to be easy to make the 49ers 53-man roster, so they have to draft very strategically this offseason. Anyway, we're wrapping up our time here in Healdsburg, and last night, per some of your recommendations, checked out Geyserville. I'm sure there's some 49ers fans in Geyserville. You guys can hit that comment section, just about 10 minutes north of Healdsburg. Very small town here in the Alexander Valley with very, very good food. First, we stopped at Catelli's, one of the couple Italian restaurants in town. This was awesome, and we had to make sure not to get full on the prosciutto and burrata, and then on the meatballs, these pork meatballs they have at Catelli's were sweet. We wanted to save the room for the Geyserville Gun Club, just next door. It takes about 5 seconds to walk in between the two. The Gun Club's been there for 8 years, a bar with a ton of character and a fire smash burger. It was messy. It was In-N-Out style. They had secret sauce listed on the menu, and you know, it's secret sauce, so they're not going to give you the ingredients, but same thing. In-N-Out's not going to give you the exact ingredients. Tasted similar. That was a smash burger, and it was a bar/restaurant burger place. Had amazing drinks too. Good old-fashioned big ice cube is mandatory, but that burger paired with the old-fashioned was something else. And because it has that restaurant feel, it's going to be a little bit heavier than your standard In-N-Out burger, but I think that's what you're going to need if you're trying to balance out the drinks. And a cool Northern California town, Geyserville. Check it out. You also can check out Diavola. That's the second Italian restaurant there. Didn't have a chance to see that one, or didn't have a chance to eat at that one. Next time, though, when I do roll through Geyserville, that will be the play. Northern California, sparkling as always. We saw what? Healdsburg, went through the entire Napa Valley. Also, we're up here in the Alexander Valley, northern part of Sonoma County, enjoying a lot of the wine and a lot of the food in this deader part of the off season. We can talk prospects, we can talk strategy, we can talk Brandon Ayuk's contract, we can talk about Brock Purdy over at the silent disco. Obviously did that yesterday, but we're obviously not going to be full steam ahead at this part of the year just because it is a little bit of a lull in football season. All right, everybody, so long from Northern California.